All right, my friends. Today we are talking about sales enablement, the future of sales enablement, specifically with artificial intelligence. That's right, sales enablement with AI. We've got Scott Walker on the podcast with us that's going to do a deep dive. This is the Connection Loop podcast brought to you by Dub, the AI video powered sales tool that has had over 100,000 people sign up. Can you believe that? Since we started in 2019 to enable and empower people to use video and artificial intelligence to make more connections at scale with ease. So Scott, if you could please kick us off, give us a quick 30-second intro. I'm going to invite you to the Instagram live here, actually. Sure. So maybe we should do that first.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And anyone that's on Instagram, please check out scott.walks. You might have to follow me on Instagram before I tag you. I think that's a known requirement.
Gotcha.
And also a shameless way for me to get more followers on Instagram. If you guys are not yet streaming live on Instagram, it's so much fun. I mean, the way that Instagram has made streaming work is so simple. And the thing that I love most about it is the ability to collaborate with people. So here we are doing a podcast. I have two microphones right here. So I can actually go live with StreamYard, which is what we use to stream the podcast live, dub.com/StreamYard. That's a third-party tool that we use. We have a partnership with them. Check that out. And then I have a separate camera right here with Instagram on my phone to go live on Instagram. So it's sort of like two for the price of one. Scott.walks. I don't see you yet here.
Yeah. What? Give me your handle again.
It's Ruben Dua.
That's right. Is there a dot in there?
No dots. So,
gotcha.
Okay, you got me. Okay, so now with that connection, I should be able to make this connection. Magic.
Fantastic.
So that is public service announcement. If you want to go live with someone, make sure that they follow you beforehand. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You should, if you go to Instagram, you should see now a me live. And then by seeing me live, you should now see the invitation. And when you see the invitation, just go ahead and join that. And then sure enough, we're going to have a split screen. So while you're doing that, I'll sort of kickstart us.
Sure.
And let me know that's live on your side. When we think about sales enablement, here's what I think about sales enablement. Sales enablement is sort of like this new category. It emerged out of the CRM world, CRM, customer relationship management. And sales enablement came as a separate thing to enable sales. So a lot of it is, data enrichment. That's a popular field. Another aspect of it is the idea of automation. We've seen that. And now in its third iteration, we are seeing artificial intelligence. So if you could please take us through that. Scott, what is your take on sales enablement? How is it relevant? Let's get into this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've seen, by the way, can you see my frame on the Instagram?
Not yet.
All right. It says it's waiting.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Are we good now?
Yeah, cool. And then just turn your mic down and mute it on your end. Perfect.
All right. Hopefully we're not getting a double mic
anymore. No, you're good. If you're muted, you're absolutely good.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So, thanks for the invite on the podcast. I really appreciate being here. Really excited to be here. What I'm seeing, I've been in the sales training space in healthcare for several years. And last year I was at a conference called L10, which is a life sciences training conference, and really big conference. And the big buzzword of the event, as you can imagine, is AI. And there's all kinds of AI-driven tools that are out there now. So we saw things from AI, data management, putting all your data and pulling all your data into a single source. literally queuing all of your RevOps tools and asking it a question like you would on Google or ChatGPT, and having it pull all of the stream of information that you have and give you an answer. So now we have people that can use AI to ask a question about upcoming client opportunities, and getting a list of opportunities that are this close to a close or something like that, which is phenomenal. In the actual training space, which I love, we're seeing all kinds of really cool, helpful things. We're seeing, learning language model like chat GPTs that are custom to a company, and you can go in and have a conversation with it about learning about a product. So you train in an internal silo. You train the AI about your product. You train it about the disease state for a drug, for example, or for a disease like diabetes or Parkinson's disease. So you can have any kind of training in and train the AI, and then you have a rep. You go in and ask questions, and what it can do is become like a personal tutor to learn about and quiz you back on what you've learned with regard to the training content.
Yeah, what I think is really interesting about AI powered sales enablement is that we now know that AI knows everything that we know as human beings, because it's been able to search the entire internet, and it's continuing to do so. So there is that omnipotence that exists, but the missing link is always the sort of guardrails and the direction on what to do, how to handle certain situations, and what the objective is, when to start, when to keep going, when to stop. And I think that what we've learned is that we can effectively train AI to be our own assistant. This works extremely well. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into this. We have to figure out what the guardrails are, what we want it to accomplish, what we want it to learn, what we do not want it to reference, what we do not want it to sort of hallucinate and make up, when to be honest, when to go on a hunch and take a risk, and then effectively how to make this sort of a repeatable system. So I really appreciate what you're talking about with respect to AI for sales enablement. We went through this process. So when you were sharing that story, I was sort of remembering what we went through to train our own AI system called SIA, which is now, by the way, it's on Dub. For anyone that's listening that is using Dub, please go activate your sales interactive assistant on Dub, because it's absolutely what we're talking about here. Scott, what are the pros and what are the cons of this? What have you seen so far? What do people need to know if they're going to get AI for sales enablement?
Yeah, so some of the pros are just tools to really make, to improve the quality of your representatives. To improve your salespeople, to train, and we have like AI avatars that can literally interact with your sales process. You can have a rep talk to it like it's talking to a customer, and you have it set with objectives. And as the rep goes through that sales process, it's rating you on a number of objectives that the company may find important. And then at the end of the call, it'll give you a score on how you did, 0 to 100. And you can see a lift with time, over time, as you continue to role play and practice with the AI avatar to improve the selling method and the selling process. You can put your selling model in there. You can put your product information in there. You can put competitive information in there. So those are all pros. Having an ability to literally have practice sessions and then be able to analyze and objectively analyze. For example, in the healthcare space, we certify reps to go out into the field after training. So they go through, and a certification is an interactive role play, usually with a person, which ends up being very subjective. If you put in all the right objective measurements into the AI avatar role play scenario, you can end up having a very objective analysis of the sales presentation with real feedback that improves the process. And the more you do that, you can have a rep practice with that a dozen times and then certify. So they can see their score go up and go up and go up. And by the end of it, they're really interacting very, very well with that customer. And the AI learning, the language models are so good right now that there may be a slight pause in a response with an avatar, but it's interacting a lot like a human being would. And you can set a personality type with those things. They're cool. And there's all kinds of companies out there that are doing that. The downsides might be, from a healthcare perspective, it might come to whether you've trained enough compliance into it. So are you following the rules? Is it giving information that may not be FDA approved, for example? Or is it pulling information from the World Wide Web and providing information to a representative that may not be accurate or may not be approved language by the FDA? So in the healthcare space, that's something companies need to be very careful of. And the companies that are out there providing AI avatars, they're very good at building in compliance and building in, if there's any kind of product information being trained upon, it's using the product insert or the package insert for that product. So all FDA approved material, and you can train it to not give anything that isn't FDA approved. The other downsides are maybe you're building you're training your AI incorrectly. Maybe your sales scenario isn't very realistic. So you have to be honest with the process and figure out, is what I'm feeding the AI actually representing what's happening in the real world? And if it's not, you might need to dial that in. You might need to fine tune that before you really utilize like an AI avatar as a real selling training tool.
I really appreciate this. There's something that I always like to share with people if they are using ChatGPT, which I think by now everyone has at least heard of or signed up or used the free program on ChatGPT just through their website. But what's very interesting about ChatGPT is that you can actually build a custom ChatGPT. So let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Yeah, go for it.
I want to kind of evangelize this because I think that this is a really effective way to go and start the AI training process. You can just see what it sort of feels like, what it looks like if you train an AI. And this is a very easy way to do it. So here on the left side of my ChatGPT, I have my custom GPTs. And these are the ones that are public. So I can search for public GPTs that other people have created, right? So there's a writing one, there's a consensus one, there's a PDF generator, there's a Scholastic GPT. But that's interesting. But the more interesting for me is how I can sort of create my own. So to do that, I have to click on my GPTs. And then if I click on the create button, this is a way to create. And let's go ahead and show for our Instagram audience. This is a way right here to go and create a custom GPT. So if I click on my GPTs, these are all the GPTs that I've created for my business. And here's what's amazing about this. We can do what Scott is teaching us, and we can actually train our model by uploading files right here. So this right here, hopefully you can see this.
Yep.
This is the ability to upload files to your custom GPT. And this is a great way to train your AI assistant. And eventually you go and deploy this on a more powerful sales enablement system or a number of different places. I mentioned SIA on Dub as a place you can do this, but this is a good place to get your feet wet and to see what it's like, because you can actually interact with it. You can ask questions, and then it will give you responses based on your training and based on your guidelines. And one of the things that I enjoyed doing was I recorded a 4-hour training video on everything that I know about my business, everything that I know from A to Z. I went through our whole website. I went through all of our training materials, and we literally taught this thing everything. It was a Zoom. There was multiple people. We were going through it. We recorded the 4-hour session, believe it or not, and then we transcribed the video. We asked ChatGPT to turn it into a 100-page training manual on our business. So it converted it into a training manual. Of course, it did its own research to append and to sort of supplement some of the information. And then now we had a 100-page training manual, a PDF document that we could then upload into our custom chat GPT. And then now this is a tool that we can make public so that if anyone has any questions on our platform, or if they want to interact, or if we want to ask questions for training or for supplement, maybe we're in a demo and we need to pull up some information quickly, we can go to that chat GPT. And this is now what we're all able to do on all these platforms. So I'm really glad you mentioned this.
Yeah, I love what you've done with your GPT. Mine's a little similar. I've got projects on the side.
Yeah.
People don't realize you can create agents within ChatGPT
Yes.
that do tasks for you. You can have it respond to emails for you. There's a number of things you can set up by using ChatGPT, and most people use it kind of as a glorified like search engine. You know, they instead of going to Google, they might go to ChatGPT and ask it a question. It'll do its research and spit out an answer. But you can set that up and set up literal agents to help you do a lot of things. And you know, that's one of the things that I'm hoping to help do with the company I've started recently is setting up agents using AI driven tools to help companies, for example, find new customers, lead generation. That's all AI driven. So how can we help them get more customers? How can we help them talk to more people? Once they have the customers there, what do you do with them then? So we have AI sales scripts that we can write that can help fine tune the selling process. And then we can do an AI sales analyzer, so where you can put in a transcript of a call and get feedback from our trained script and an agent that can provide you feedback on a sales call and really analyze it and figure out, hey, what did you do well? What could you do better? How could you improve your opportunities next time based on the call that it just saw? And then beyond that, just closing more business and then tying all of it together, looking at revenue, rev ops. You know, you can have it, there's a big pool of data that every company has. And if you can tie it all together and have AI look for opportunities for you, you can create an agent to do that too. So your list of agents down on the side there really made me smile, because I think most people basically are, you know, they're using ChatGPT at a kindergarten level, and I'm probably at maybe a third grade level. I don't know how much higher I am than anybody else. But once you figure out how to create some agents for yourself, and then you can create some agents for other people, you can really make some really cool things happen using these tools.
Yeah, you know, say a number of, everyone should say a number of what's the ideal number of employees that they should have for their business. Like if they could just have a wand and say, I want to have this number of people for my team to do X, Y, and Z tasks, you know, maybe start with creating an AI agent for each one of those.
Yeah.
maybe that's where we should start. I know that's what I did. You know, if I go through my library of AI agents, we have one for writing, we have one for training, we have one for ops, we have one for partnerships, we have one for research, we have one for social media. You know, it goes on. Basically, every aspect, every sort of part of our business has at least some sort of an AI agent to help us go and do our tasks. And then, of course, with these agents, what we do is we share them with the team, and then they use them, and then we learn and we iterate and we make them better and better and better. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. You know, it's kept us lean, and it's kept us sharp. And, you know, in a lot of ways, have we become a little lazy and dependent? Maybe. Yeah, I'll admit that. But at the same time, you know, we've elevated ourselves to a whole different level, you know, now that we have access to this.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned, you know, like an agent for sales. You know, companies that are out there and they start doing well, they'll hire more salespeople, because that's where the revenue is. You know, you're not going to bring in revenue if you don't have someone out there selling your widgets. So if they hire salespeople are expensive. You know, depending on the industry and the company, you might be spending high five figures a year on a salesperson plus commissions maybe. So, you know, let's just call it 100K. And let's say you have 100 people at 100K a piece. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of money. Now, depending on the industry, how many salespeople could you replace with an AI sales development representative?
Yeah.
And it's not about replacing people. So for those people that are thinking about expanding and hiring more salespeople today, we could set up an AI SDR for somebody that could do the work of 10 reps. So now I can save you from hiring 10 reps by putting one really good AI agent in place that can bring opportunities to you and fill your calendar with leads and fill your calendar with people to talk to and to sell. So, if you're thinking of expanding your sales force, think about adding an AI SDR first. So you're not having to replace your existing team. You can augment your existing team at a fraction of the price.
And then are we talking about like sort of outbound calling, or what are you referring to?
Yeah. So, depending on the industry, I've got a couple clients I'm doing lead generation for, doing outbound cold email. So we create the scripts. We create AI generated scripts. Of course, we don't just publish and send scripts that are written by AI. Everything has a human element behind it. For AI to work really well, you need human intelligence to augment the AI. So AI is augmenting us, and then we can then take what AI gives us, and we have to put that human mind to it and see, is this correct? Is this right? Does this make sense for what I'm sending? And if I'm doing a cold email outreach, I can have 10 different scripts that are going out. And then I can have my AI measure which scripts are working the best. And on something like a cold email campaign, a 2% respond rate is or better is what we would aim for. And if we're not getting 2% on 7 of those scripts, then we're going to turn them off. And we can do that, and we can figure that out after several weeks of test and trial. So we're trying A versus B, we're trying B versus C, and we can find the scripts that are dialed in to get you the best response and the best, and we're not even looking at click rates. We're looking at respond rates. So people responding to the email, people sending an inquiry back saying, yeah, I'm interested in learning more. So if you can set that up, you can measure it, you can turn off and have AI analyze the ones that are working the best for you and the ones that aren't. And then once you get them in your calendar, the next step for a lot of companies is to have a call with them and discover where there are opportunities to help them. So yeah.
So think about that. I mean, we are now living in the world where we can have artificial intelligence with the power of human intelligence, HI, working in conjunction to now send automated emails to targeted leads. We've tried dialing. We've enjoyed watching dialers. They are absolutely imperfect. I remember when we kicked off an AI dial campaign, the funniest thing is the latency. There's a delay, there's the glitchiness, there's sometimes that awkward silence where, you can tell the AI is processing, and it's almost like the equivalent of someone in customer service or sales being distracted on the phone or not understanding.
Yeah.
And it's quite humorous to listen to because it's just a failure. And what does that result in? If you're on the phone, hangups.
Yeah.
So, we're definitely none of this is perfect, which is why obviously we need human intervention here. But what a cool opportunity to kickstart this stuff. One of the things that maybe an objection that I might present is one of the problems that I've always had with cold email is that I find it difficult to stay in the inbox. If too many people mark you as spam, if too many people don't open the emails, your domain reputation starts to take a hit, and then your emails end up going to not where you want them to go, and then the domain takes a hit, and it's that sort of revolving door. Yeah. So I know a lot of folks, have done this in a very sophisticated way with email warm-up tools and email validations and, the DMARC records and constantly changing, DNS settings, purchasing domains and having domains on warmers and, going through that process, that sort of machine-ifying the whole process. I'd like to get your take on that. Sometimes I ask myself, should we cold email 1 million people, or should we try to just do a video that gets to 1 million people. What is your take on that?
Yeah. So here's my take on that. Cold email is a great, inexpensive way to reach people. And your point about sending an email out, you've got to deliver that email to somebody, and that's usually you're usually paying for an ad that does that. So paid ads will by far outperform cold email. There's no question. If you do a paid ad through Meta, using Instagram and Facebook, to be effective, you've got to spend a minimum of $100 a day for any kind of traction to take place. But you can test what works really well very quickly. And you can, within days, start turning off ads that aren't working and increasing volume on ads that are working. So again, you put together like on a Facebook ad type thing where you can create all that content using AI. And again, using human intelligence to make sure it's right. You're not just creating and sending out there and spending money on things like that. But the nice thing about AI is the analytics you can get behind the results you get. So you can get rid of so many manual tasks using AI. And I don't know if you've ever heard of N8N. N8N is a website that you can create AI-driven workflows that are just phenomenal. And you've seen workflows where it's like, if this happens, then you can go here or here or here or here, and it just branches out into a million different places. You can end up making really complex workflows. And N8N is a tool that makes that really easy. You can do it without coding. So you can start to create workflows using a tool like N8N to manage a process, to reduce the man hours needed to do things. So that's one thing. In terms of cold email, though, cold email outreach, you're right. There are techniques out there. You have to warm up. You have to have a campaign that you have to warm up domains. So you've got to buy domains for things like that. You need cold email addresses that aren't going to get automatically shoved into a spam folder. So there are websites that offer services to help you with that, but usually they take time to warm up, like at least 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So ideally, you end up having a set of domains that you can use over time that are warm because you're using them frequently. And if you have a cold email campaign that you're doing a lot of, you just keep using the same domains and emails that you've been using for a long time, and they're now warmed up. They're not getting rejected and put into spam folders. They're starting to reach their intended audience. So that's the hard part using cold email outreach is there's going to be a lot of people that they don't like it feels like spam for a lot of people. That's why the offer within a cold email, I think, shouldn't be telling anybody about what I can do, but it can tell them about what I might be able to do for them. So
there it is.
So if I'm going to invite and offer some value to somebody, for example, I'm running a podcast. I'm using a cold email campaign to invite people to join me on a podcast, and then I'm sharing the podcast on YouTube and on LinkedIn, and that offers someone some value. And I get a conversation with somebody. I get to expand my network a little bit. I get to get in front of somebody a little bit more. And I'm not using cold email to sell anything to that person. It's literally offering a value where they can come and join me on a website and get some exposure. Another one might be like a masterclass type of outreach, or you might offer do a white paper. You might do some research, and you're inviting somebody to join you on an interview to tell about their business and experience, and you can use it for a research project and write a white paper. So there's a number of ways that you can now include outreach in a cold email campaign to get in front of people, depending on what you're selling or what your company does, that makes sense, that isn't just trying to pitch a product or a service. I think the pitch for a product or a service is better done in an ad, in a like a Facebook, paid ad, or even through content creation, where your pitch can be demonstrated well. Like what you're doing right now is a great example. People come into your podcast seeing what you can offer, seeing what you're capable of doing with the Chat GPT projects and agent setup. That probably does more for your business than any cold email campaign would do in weeks. So you're creating something that offers value to people. You're actually teaching people how to go there, where to go on your page, and I think that's 10 times better than any kind of cold email outreach program.
Yeah, well, no, thanks for saying that. We try to do all the above. We try to just be omni, and we're always focused on value, and we're always focused on lifting other people up. Scott, tell me, where can people connect with you? Website, social, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yeah,
where you at?
sure. So my LinkedIn is what it is. So my Insta is scott.walks. I need to start doing more on Instagram. I appreciate you inviting me to live stream there. I can share a link for my LinkedIn, but I'm on LinkedIn, Scott Walker.
Perfect.
And my company is Compass Training Systems. And that's Compass Training, www.compasstrainingsystems.com. And my email is scott@compasstrainingsystems.com. So if people want to reach out to me, and that's how they can get in touch with me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Scott. Really appreciate that. This podcast was brought to you by Dub, the AI-powered video sales system to help you sell more. Record quick videos with the Dub desktop app, the Dub Chrome extension, the Dub mobile app. Use AI to write compelling scripts that connect with people and get instantly generated video landing pages after you record any video so that people can go watch your videos, book a time in your calendar, and even use your AI assistant, all powered by Dub. Check out dub.com to get started. We also have a partner program where we pay out 30% recurring commission if you are going to refer folks to our platform. So you are earning money passively. And a lot of people have turned this into an active income where they make mortgages and Tesla payments, and unbelievable. So let us pay you, not the advertising channels. And Scott, thank you so much. Really appreciate the podcast here.
We'll see thanks, Ruben. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Scott. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.